see all the ballots. 100%. You're entitled to it under law. It's a good law. You should do it. Here's the problem. One, you can't say fraud when you don't know there is. Look at it, and then we'll all be here to report on it.
I haven't said fraud.
Well, but the governor has,
listen.
the senator has, the president has. That's why I'm raising it. But here's the other thing. You guys don't have clean hands. You're a Florida congressman. You're on the federal level. I give you a pass. Scott, no pass. This woman who you just sued today, Scott sued, who's a Democrat in Broward County, she was asked to do the job by Governor Bush. She's been there 15 years. 8 of them were underneath Scott. He did nothing. The Secretary of State is a Republican. He did nothing. So it's your state. You keep having problems. Make the fixes. You've done nothing.
I don't
keep
care
having
if
the same problems.
Well, that is a fair criticism of those counties, but it is totally unfair of you to paint all of Florida with the same brush, because in 65 of our 67 counties, including our most populated county, Miami-Dade, everybody did everything right. So this isn't a Florida problem. This is a Broward County problem.
And everybody
I don't care if
did
she's
not do
by
everything
Jeb Bush
right.
Or the Pope of Rome.
Everybody
She
did
didn't do
not
it right.
do everything right. There were reports of trouble
Republicans
up and
messed up?
down both coasts. Look at the governor's race.
Okay,
look at this race. You've got trouble down there with how you do your elections.
What was the allegation of trouble? Okay, then evidence that claim, Chris. You tell me what the problem was on the other coast. Where on the Gulf Coast was there a single problem with reporting ballots and complying with court orders? Take all the time you need.
No, there are reports about people, how they match the signatures, that county by county the standards are different, where some people went to some lines, they weren't able to get in for a certain... I mean, there's always
What
complaints.
county did that happen? Give me a county.
Complaints.
Give me a county.
There's a whole lawsuit.
Give me one county.
There's a whole lawsuit from Senator Nelson
Chris,
about
then
exactly
name the
this.
county. You can't... It is so irresponsible of you to say that there are problems throughout Florida when those problems are isolated to 2 counties.
Not on Nelson's.
Where?
Not
Where
on
are you
Nelson's,
alleging that
Nelson. Go look at the pleadings. I'm not bringing the lawsuit.
No, Nelson.
But Senator Nelson
is. Yes, Senator Nelson is bringing litigation so that he can effectuate a hand recount everywhere. And let me be clear.
So he has an ulterior motive. Your guys are pleading fraud when they have no proof of it, but that's okay.
They're hiding the proof. They're playing hide the ball with the freaking ballots. So how are we supposed to prove the fraud when they're not allowing us to go behind and have access to the things that we
But how can you say there's fraud when you haven't seen the ballots?
When a judge tells them they have to show it to us by 7 o'clock, they should have showed them to you. They tell us to come back at 10 a.m. the next morning.
Shame on them.
It's ridiculous.
Shame on them.
And it's not... Good, but don't cast that same shame on every other county in Florida where there's no evidence of wrongdoing. Even if Nelson's filed a lawsuit,
you are asking for it both ways.
That's not proof.
You're asking for it both ways. You're saying we think there was fraud and we'll be able to prove it. We get to see these things we've never seen. Nelson says, I have proof that people weren't able to verify their ballots through signatures in a fair process, that it was different in different counties and it worked to my disadvantage.
Allegation. We have
so is yours.
Order. They have an allegation.
That's all you have, too.
False. We have a judge. We have a judge who said you violated the constitutional rights of Floridians.
Did that judge?
That's
No. Hold on a second. Hold on. The judge said that not giving the information over violated the law and one of the clauses in the Constitution. That's about transparency, not fraud in the counting, not fake, not cheating. The judge said
a lack
none
of
of that. That's an allegation.
Creates an ecosystem for fraud. Yeah, you're right.
Ecosystem for fraud.
Again,
if you're worried about the ecosystem, go deal with your brown tide that you have down there. Don't worry. This isn't about an ecosystem. This is about a process that doesn't work well enough, Congressman. And I agree with you about it.
It works well in 65 of 67 counties.
That's not what Senator Nelson says. He says the provisional ballots were a problem.
Yeah, but he hasn't proven anything.
I know. That's the point of the lawsuit. Neither have you.
No, but you yourself agree, Chris, that at this stage of the game, we ought to know how many people voted. So that's a mistake.
I do, actually. We're doing some research on this. I think the way your state works, tell me if I'm wrong, or we'll check with the Secretary of State. It's not really material to our conversation. Some of the states, you have to have your absentee ballots.
What is material to our conversation?
No, I'm saying this.
You have to have all that information posted.
Yeah, 100%. Look, the transparency is a no-brainer. You're never going to have a journalist argue against transparency. I'm all for it. I'm saying in some states...
But you're saying that even when people frustrate my transparency, that then we should just assume that they're doing everything else right, and we should not assume that there's any shenanigans going on behind the curtain. That's crazy.
You can't charge fraud if you can't prove it, Matt. That's what I'm saying. Wait for the proof.
But I can't prove it if they don't let me behind the curtain.
I know, but that's not the same thing.
I sincerely hope we get a chance to do that at 10 a.m. tomorrow.
100%.
I hope we get a chance to
analyze the ballots. And if you don't, you let me know, and I'll report on it again.
We'll know.
I'll report on it again.
All right.
But all I'm saying is this. There are games going on both sides. It's regrettable because it's going to undermine confidence in the election. That's the last thing we need right now. All I was saying is you said we should know by now how many ballots. In your state, the absentee ballots had to be received already. Some, they have to be stamped by Election Day. In your state, we believe that that's only true about military and ballots from outside the country. So you can make the argument that you should have all the ballots in place, but not having them counted. I mean, you have until the 18th to have the full record of the vote. For a reason.
Right. But
and your Secretary of State is a Republican. That should give you some comfort. It's your guy.
Well, they ought to come in and take over the election. But the judge said that we're entitled to know how many ballots are left to be counted.
Yes.
And that's something we still don't know.
Yes, and that's wrong.
That's not an allegation. That's an actual violation of the law.
But saying that there was fraud is an allegation.
And that's only happening here.
But saying that there's fraud is an allegation.
Correct. No, I have. Let me be very clear. I'm not alleging that there is certain to be fraud.
Scott is.
I'm just saying, like, when you have fraud, you also have the lack of transparency. So let's lift the veil. Let's let Republicans and Democrats see the information. Let's include the media. Let's turn all the cards face up. What I'm uncomfortable with is the violation of court orders. And look, you know, if it turns out that Governor Scott didn't win the election, I'll be the first one to say that he didn't. But look, I mean, you are not allowed to just like will 80,000 ballots into existence with no chain of custody.
But we don't know that happened.
No reconciliation.
We don't know that happened.
Ballot process. No, they have to count. Yeah, but we've asked for the chain of custody documents, and they haven't given them to us. I agree. We have to count.
And that's
no
wrong.
one's
You
arguing
count
against
every vote, but that's going to be a problem for you on the other side because Nelson's going to make a case about the provisional ballots. We have to see how that plays out as well because that falls under the category of counting all ballots.
We should count those
as well. So we'll see.
And we should absolutely.
All right,
I agree
Congressman,
with that.
keep me in the loop. I mean it. The transparency matters. Forget about red or blue. It's about being reasonable. All right?
Hey, and